Mind attacks involve heavily, energetically, emotionally charged thoughts that run riot in our headspace and usually create very unpleasant emotional reactions. And a lot of the time, these mind attacks are actually rooted in past pain or trauma, and they can represent our deepest insecurities and fears. And, these mind attacks can actually be quite all consuming at the time of their unfoldment. So, in this video, I'm going to discuss 3 techniques to remember the bigger picture, which will hopefully help you to remember the bigger picture at a time when it's very difficult to remember. So grab a pen and paper and actually make some notes. Write down these techniques so that you can grab that piece of paper when you're in the midst of a mind attack. So let's get started. Number 1, breathe and come into inner body awareness. During mind attack, our monkey mind is going wild. And this is because we have this very emotionally, energetically charged thought that is then a vibrational match to that of a similar thought and another and another. And then we start spiraling downwards because we're actually feeding this fear-based thought pattern. And so it is thriving. We're all up in our mind, actually dwelling in the mind space, identified with this voice in the head that sounds like us, and it tells its stories. So in order to find our relief and clarity, we let go of our thoughts and we come into the present moment. And one of the best ways to do this during mind attack is through the breath. Now, the inner narrator that's going and going and going, it will try to convince you that these thoughts need to be thought right now. However, the reality is that nothing is going to be solved right now, especially using the mind. So we can reason with the mind and let go as best we can and come to the breath. Take deep breaths and use your breath as your focal point. You may wish to count from 1 to 10, and if you lose your focus and get sucked into a thought stream, come back to the beginning and start from number 1 again. In doing this, not only are you stopping the escalation of thought, but you're also slowing down your breathing and relaxing your body. You're calming yourself down. It is likely that these thoughts are creating some kind of emotional reaction, and you will likely have this energy frantically moving around in your body, and that will manifest as a sensation or a feeling. Now, no matter what incident has just taken place in your outer world, or no matter what your belief systems are saying at this moment in time, no matter what the story in the mind is blabbering on about, let all of that go because that is completely irrelevant right now. That is just a story that the ego, the egoic mind is telling you. So let all of that go and take your attention and place it inwards, place it on that sensation in the body. So through dropping the narrative and coming into the body, not only are we disidentifying from the thoughts, but we are actually letting go of the interest in the thoughts and instead directing interest into the body and the inner sensation. How does it feel? Where do you feel it? When we are wholeheartedly focused on this feeling, we are present, we are not thinking. We're connecting with present moment awareness here, which gets us out of the mind, but we're also actually processing this pain rather than fueling it with more thoughts. Now, if the sensation is intense, then breathe into it, direct your breath into that area of the body and actually work with the breath here. It can be a real relief. I understand that not everyone is entirely sure of how to feel the inner energy field of the body. And if you like, I can make a video about that. Just let me know, comment below. I want to mention that this technique is incredibly powerful. It really is. Just waking up and thinking, right, realizing this moment of clarity, of enlightenment where you're like, okay, let go of the story, back to this sensation. That's all you need to focus on, really. That is all you need to focus on. And that is extremely powerful. It's pulled me out of many mind attacks because I've quite literally starved the mind of its energy to continue attacking me. In using these portals into presence, we actually break the momentum of thought. Thoughts are part of the mind-made sense of self, and therefore they are egoic by nature. They form our ego. They are simply arising and subsiding. Yet we give them so much meaning and show them so much interest, and this is why we suffer. Yet, when we take our attention away from the mind and into the breath or the inner body, we sense that we are closer to our deepest self beyond the mental chatter. Number 2, you don't have to believe the fearful thoughts. Witness thoughts and see them objectively. Now, the inner narrator cannot be trusted, and this is because it is not a fortune teller, it is inconsistent, and it is contradictory. It cannot possibly know about the majority of the things that it bangs on about, even though it claims that it does. It says one thing, and then the next day when your mood changes, it says another thing. It likes to make up stories about an unwritten future and a dead and gone past, all based on its previous programming, not based on truth. When the inner narrator is manifesting as a mind attack with fearful thoughts, it is very often because it is simply being overprotective and oftentimes irrational because of some previous traumatic event. Eckhart Tolle would say that our past pain or pain body is actually rising to the surface and working through our mind. Our past pain is essentially haunting us. Now, the important thing to remember here is that if you derive your sense of self from that inner narrator, that unreliable voice in the mind space, then it will rule you. It will have power over you, and you will completely believe what it's saying. However, you have an innate ability to actually sit as the witness, to really find this deeper aspect of yourself that witnesses all of these fearful thoughts arising and subsiding within your awareness. So through actually stepping back and seeing the bigger picture, you can really claim your freedom through disidentifying from this totally unreliable voice. So in this way, we're actually really accessing our greater sense of self. And, the mind can chatter away as much as it wants. You're in a state of complete acceptance. It can chatter away, but you remain detached. And you also just lose interest as well, which will actually deprive the thought stream of its energy. So close your eyes and observe the thoughts as they arise. Just be aware of the voice. Notice there is no fighting here. We are simply observing. Watch how the thoughts arise. Watch how you get sucked into identification with them and then wake up again from them. Watch it all. You may wish to ask yourself, who is the one that is suffering? Through asking ourselves this powerful question, we're actually using our mind attack to really investigate the nature of self from a deeper level. We're stripping back the layers of our false sense of self to see what there is beyond the mind. So we're not looking to answer this question, especially not with the mind. Practicing things like self-inquiry or meditation and present moment awareness is so important, not just in mind attack, but throughout our daily lives, because what it does is it really gets to the root of the problem. It will allow you to be present with any trapped pain that arises so that you can transmute it and heal yourself. And it will allow you to transcend the mind and claim your power over it. This practice of awakening a new consciousness takes patience, consistency, and relentlessness, but it could put an end to your mind attacks once and for all. Number 3, change the narrative. Now, mind attacks often have the tendency to propel us through irrational thinking patterns that actually torment us and go round and round, recycling over and over. These thoughts hold a negative vibrational frequency, but we are alchemists and we can alchemize these thoughts and actually transmute the vibrational frequency of these thoughts through choosing a different narrative, through choosing a different thought that is of a higher vibrational frequency, one that we resonate with, and one that ultimately makes us feel good. When we change our thinking patterns, we change our experience, because our experience is literally a result of our thinking and our mindset. Another person that did not experience a past trauma like you would have a completely different mindset and therefore a completely different experience and reaction. It is all just a result of the stories that we tell ourselves.
One thought that helps to generate an energy of acceptance is, I accept this moment because I know that on a deeper level, this is exactly what I need. Now, this thought will work especially if you believe that the universe is only ever working to bring about your expansion.
Now, during a mind attack, the mental chatter is being passed through a negative filter. And it may be catastrophizing, and it is oftentimes totally irrational and illogical. With fear-based thoughts or just general intrusive thoughts, there will be a more logical side to the story. Investigate that. Be introspective and write down what comes through. You're counteracting your thoughts with rationality and literally looking at them on the paper. This is to remind you again of the bigger picture. Is there a silver lining? Is there another way that you can look at the situation? What would another version of you say when you are not having a mind attack? So here we're actually choosing our thoughts, and this is another thought stream that you're introducing, this new vibrational frequency that you're introducing, that we're going to use to counteract those fearful thoughts and actually kind of alleviate our suffering. And I do talk a lot about journaling in this respect as well, writing it down, just because, I mean, there's so many benefits to journaling. You're able to really sort of express yourself with journaling as well. You may feel compelled to actually write down how you feel, be as dramatic as you like. It's your therapist in that moment. And yes, you're able to objectively look at your thoughts, and you're able to compartmentalize them in that moment as well. Journaling, it's kind of a hug, it's comforting, it's grounding, and yeah, sometimes we can really channel through a deeper aspect of us. One thing I want to mention before we finish is that, remember, write this one down as well, this too shall pass. We live in a rhythmic world, guys. Everything goes up and down. Our mind is going to try and convince us during mind attack that this is going to be us forever. That is a very small perception that the egoic mind loves to keep you in, but that is not the case. So if you feel doomed, just remember, this too shall pass. So thank you so much for watching this video. My name's Jasmine. Please like and subscribe if you like this kind of content, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye 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 bye.